What is up, everybody? It is me, DevilNeverCry, and we are back with another video today, as Capcom have announced they will be at E3 this year on June 14th. For those of you that are a little out of the loop, earlier today on social media, Capcom announced they would be hosting their own E3 showcase on Monday the 14th of June at 10:30 PM British Standard Time, promising to include a look at some of the news for their latest games lineup, including Resident Evil Village, Monster Hunter Rise, Monster Hunter Stories 2, and the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. One thing that is important to note is that the post states that the show will include these games, but not that the show is limited to only these games, which means that there is always room for a few surprises. Most of you that follow the channel will know that this year marks the 20th anniversary for the Devil May Cry series, so I'm hoping that DMC makes an appearance in some capacity, whether it is an update on the DMC anime, which was said to be in the works a while ago, a Switch port for DMC4 Special Edition, or the fabled remake that everybody is kind of craving at the minute, whether it's DMC1 or DMC2. Considering these games are beginning to age, it makes sense. Age like fine wine, might I add, or age like rancid cheese, if it's DMC2 we're talking about, but I digress. There is also Pragmata, which could potentially make an appearance, the mysterious astronaut game that was announced just over a year ago. I'm assuming if it does turn up, we'll get some sort of gameplay trailer, but considering that that game's release date slipped on into 2023, maybe the gameplay trailer is a little far off. We could even get a look at Hideaki Itsuno's unannounced project, which is heavily rumored to be Dragon's Dogma 2, thanks to a few interviews Itsuno-san did near the release of DMC5, which, as many of you will know, he stated that Dragon's Dogma 2, along with DMC5, is one of the projects he'd really like to work on. Though, considering we don't know any of the development history for this new project and when it entered production or pre-production, it may be still a little far off for an announcement trailer. But enough of the wishful thinking, let's take a look at some of the games we know are going to be making an appearance at Capcom's E3 showcase, starting off with Resident Evil Village. For those of you that followed Resident Evil 7, you'll know that that received a plethora of DLC, and no doubt Resident Evil Village is going to follow suit. Now, as soon as you hear the words Village and DLC, immediately everybody springs to the idea of some sort of weird and inane Lady Dimitrescu DLC doing some mysterious things, some shady things, some incredibly suspect things which are probably against terms of service for whatever site you propose to stream it to. But I honestly think that this DLC, and for those of you that have played the game, you'll know this, I think this DLC is going to focus solely on Chris Redfield, whether it is the 3-year span leading up to the events of Village, whether it is post-game, where we come to find out that BSAA have been doing some extremely strange things with BOWs, or perhaps we'll get a look at what Chris Redfield was up to mid-game, whilst Ethan was collecting pieces of his daughter like Exodia, the Forbidden One. Nevertheless, there are multiple angles they can take with this DLC, so I'm excited to see what Capcom have come up with. Moving on, that brings us to Monster Hunter Rise, which, for many of you who've been playing the game frequently, will know that a large free title update dropped just at the tail end of May, which calls into question what exactly are they going to show off here. Now, you've also got Monster Hunter Stories 2 making an appearance here, which I think will take the lion's share of attention for the Monster Hunter series, but I'd imagine that for Monster Hunter Rise, they will talk more about the Capcom collab that they had identified and outlined on their roadmap for Monster Hunter Rise. Speaking of Monster Hunter Stories 2, that actually drops next month on July 9th, so I'd imagine we'd be getting an extended look at some of the gameplay here, considering that a trailer for it dropped just last week. For those of you who don't know, Monster Hunter Stories and Stories 2 play entirely different to the usual Monster Hunter, opting for a RPG focus. Definitely a game on my radar, considering I didn't get to play the original Monster Hunter Stories, so I'm looking forward to getting hands-on and seeing what all the hype is about. And last but not least, that brings us to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, a compilation of 2 Great Ace Attorney games which were previously only released in Japan. Thankfully though, Chronicles will feature a worldwide release next month on July 27th, Again, with the game's release upon us, I'd assume we get an extended look at some of the gameplay or even another trailer. Considering the compilation features games that have been out for quite a while now, people kind of know what to expect, and there won't be any bombshells being dropped. Unless they decide to announce another Ace Attorney title, which I'm unsure of. I don't think it's been heavily rumored in the past, but if it has, I'm sure people will let me know down in the comments. So all in all, we have a list of 4 confirmed titles, which is pretty substantial in and of itself, and then there is the potential for all these heavily rumored and discussed games to make a surprise appearance. I forgot to mention the rumored Resident Evil 4 remake, which has been going through some development troubles, but that is probably not going to make an appearance as much as people want it to, or, you know, maybe contrary to all these rumors, Capcom have gone and decided to remake CVX instead, just so that they could bundle in the DMC1 remake demo as a throwback to the original release of CVX, which came with a DMC1 demo, for those of you who don't know, but that is incredible wishful thinking. Don't take it as my prediction. I honestly think we'll get these 4 games. Maybe we'll get a look at Pragmata. Maybe we'll get a look at the next project that Itsuno was cooking up, and I'm hoping we get some mention of DMC somewhere, considering the 20th anniversary is only a couple more months away. But I won't be holding my breath, especially when it comes to DMC. Perhaps in some shock twist of events, DMC 5 will be coming to the Nintendo Switch. And I know everybody's thinking, well, that's obviously impossible with the hardware limitations, but I'm almost certain they brought Resident Evil 7 to the Switch thanks to streaming technology, so maybe that's something they look at for DMC 5. Though honestly, with streaming and input delay and lag and latency, I don't think that's going to be such a hot product. And of course, with the Switch Pro looming on the horizon, the rumors have set the internet ablaze these past couple of weeks, with Nintendo adding fuel to that fire with the Nintendo Direct announced for the 15th. It wouldn't make sense for them to announce DMC 5 for the Switch Pro, considering that if a Switch Pro is a thing, surely it wouldn't be announced until the day after. But enough with all of the theoreticals, enough with all of the what-ifs. Let me know down in the comments below, what do you think Capcom is going to show off at their E3 showcase? Do you think they'll stick to the 4 titles that they outlined earlier today in their social media post for this showcase? Or do you think we'll get a look at some other titles, such as Pragmata or whatever it is that Itsuno's cooking up? Whether it's Dragon's Dogma 2 or DMC 6 or whatever, let me know down in the comments below. And that is going to bring us to the end of this video. So, with all that said and done, it has been me, DevilNeverCry. I would like to thank all of you for watching, and as always, I'll see you all next video.